Key expense items in a practice include the cost of professional services, support staff compensation, associate veterinarian compensation, and rent. The line item titled Cost of Professional Services includes all expenses directly incurred to provide medical and surgical services to your clients. Subcategories include drugs and medical supplies, laboratory and imaging costs, dietary product costs, and animal disposal costs. In most efficiently run practices, drugs and professional supplies comprise about 12.5 to 15% of gross income, and laboratory and imaging costs run about 1.5 to 5% of gross income. Pet food percentages can vary greatly depending on the amount of these products sold by a practice, but they generally comprise about 3.5 to 6% of gross income. In total, the cost of professional services expense is about 18 to 26.6% of gross income. This expense is one of the single biggest expenses in a veterinary practice, and even small changes in the percentages can have a major dollar impact on net income. Practices that fall below this range may not be stocking enough variety in medications and supplies to provide a full range of medical and surgical services to their clients, and those with expenses above this range may have problems with theft or poor inventory control. Support staff compensation is another large expense item in a practice that needs to be monitored closely. Salary for support staff generally runs about 18 to 22% of gross income. Payroll taxes usually add another couple of percentage points, and benefits another 1.9 to 9%, depending on what benefits are offered. Practices with ratios below the 18% may not have enough staff to be able to efficiently run the practice and provide the client service that pet owners are expecting these days. Practices with support staff expense ratios at or above the high end of the range may not be efficiently utilizing or scheduling the staff they do have. It is important to note, however, that finding qualified people to work in one's practice has been a real problem for some years and will likely continue to be a problem in the future. Consequently, practice owners often have to pay more than they have in the past to get the kind of help necessary to run the practice properly, and the high end of this salary range is nudging upwards. Salary for associate doctors usually runs between 18 to 22% of their personal production. There are some common exceptions, however. The production of newly graduated veterinarians may take a while to reach the above-mentioned levels. Owners may be paying more just to get an associate because the market is tight. Veterinarians new to the practice may need some time to build up production. Rent is another significant expense item for most veterinary clinics, and it usually comprises about 6 to 8% of gross income. Rent below this range may indicate a particularly good rent deal negotiated with a landlord or especially efficient utilization of space. At some point, however, growth will be limited in small facilities, and a low rent percentage can indicate that a practice is getting close to this point. Rent expense over the high end of this range may indicate that a practice has too much space to support the level of production. This will certainly occur with a new practice or one that has recently enlarged its space and is still growing the practice to fit the new facility. But if those circumstances don't apply, then a practice needs to be actively looking at its marketing program and how to attract more clients to the practice. While it is important to keep an eye on all your expenses, remember that the best way to improve profitability is to bring more revenue into the practice. Many practices concentrate on reducing expenses to improve profits because they are more comfortable with this approach. Reducing expenses will never increase profits to the extent increasing revenues will, and after a point can be harmful to the practice because you deprive yourself of the equipment, drugs and supplies, and staff necessary to offer superior medical and surgical care and outstanding customer service. To improve profitability, grow your revenues by increasing the range of services your clinic offers, improve your customer service, and concentrate on marketing the practice to potential new clients.